which is actually one of my former students, John Pena here. And we should feel pretty honored that he's here because he doesn't live here anymore. But basically, he was a Selma High student. And I told you he was kind of, sat in the seats and walked the same halls as you guys. And now he is a very successful entrepreneur. And so he's gonna be telling you guys his journey from where you guys are to where he is now. Okay. So as I was telling you in my first period class too, one of my favorite things as a teacher is, of course, teaching. Duh. I mean, that comes with the job. But one reason I chose to teach high school students in particular is just because you guys are at a place where it's kind of like that place in your life where you can go many places after you leave here, right? I've seen a lot of my kids be successful, whether it's financially or just some other ways of success, because it's not always just money. And I've also seen a lot of my kids grow up, where I've been invited to their weddings or attended their weddings or their baby showers. They've become parents. So stuff like that for teachers makes us very proud. And so I'm very honored to have John Pena here today. And let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you, Miss Nino. Good morning, everyone. Go ahead and grab a seat. Okay, so my name is John. In a second here, you'll see a little bit about myself through a presentation. And the reason I wanted to come was to share with you what's possible. I graduated from here. I was in the second period when I had Miss Nino, and I grew up in Selma, right? So I didn't come here to like flash or just show, flaunt, or like I'm truly intentionally like, hey, I wanted to show you what a small town kid from Selma went on and grew up to be, right? Does anyone want to guess when I graduated? Let's try it again.
Don't worry, you won't offend him by saying a certain age.
Is it bad if I give away money? Is that bad? Okay, $100 to whoever can first guess. But you have to raise your hand, and I'll okay. I have a real $100 bill. Like, okay, well, I'll go who I saw raised hand first. So you? Oh, fine. Yeah. Okay. All right, here. Okay, so I graduated in 2013. Okay, and I am gonna go over kind of like my early childhood in Selma. Okay. Henry or Miss Nino, can you go to the next slide? I went to Wilson Elementary. Any Wildcats? No? Okay, usually there's one or two. So I went to Wilson Elementary. We're all familiar with that school, yes? Okay, I went to Abraham Lincoln because I didn't have a choice. None of us did, right? We only have one junior high here, and I went to Selma High School. So obviously that is here. I walked these halls, sat in these chairs, and I was also on the wrestling team for all 4 years when I was growing up. And then I wrestled at Abraham Lincoln as well, too. I'm gonna go through just kind of like what a normal time and my experience with my parents was like growing up. Does anyone come from a strict household? You go to the next slide. A strict household? No? Okay, my parents are crazy. My father was a Marine, and I felt like my mom was a drill sergeant, but she just was crazy. But like a good crazy. I respect her, I love her for pushing me really, really hard. But as a 17-year-old, I had to like be in bed by 8 p.m., right? Because I was in sports. I had to be sharp, I had to be ready, and I had to perform at a high level. So I also had to follow the roadmap. I had to get straight A's. If I had all A's and a B plus, and I came home, I was afraid to walk inside the doors because my father would look at me and say, what could you have done to get an A? Like you basically failed this year in academics, right? And that happened one time, and to make up for that B, I had to take an AP class, and that way I could graduate with a 4.0, right? So you follow the roadmap, and there's nothing wrong with this roadmap. You can go through and actually be successful and follow this, right? So you go to school, you get good grades, you can make it a little bit better and easier for you if you're a high-level athlete, right? And you go to a good college, and then after that, you hopefully get a good job, right? This is the American dream, as some would say. So I'm going to walk you through like what a normal day in high school would look like for me. So my father would force me to wake up at 5 a.m. And like literally, like there would be mornings I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to hit the gym, but he would sometimes have to physically stand me up, wake me up, water on the face, whatever that may be, and I had to go work out. Then I would go to school at 8. Back when I was in high school, we started at 8:05, not 8:30, so you guys got a little bit extra time. And I also had to do a 3-hour wrestling practice after school. And then there was those cool, awesome days where after 3 hours of wrestling, my father would tell me, hey, we're going to do a little bit more drilling at the house. My dad was so crazy, we tore out the garage and we basically built a wrestling room inside our home, right? So he was obsessed with us being really, really good at wrestling. And then I would do my homework at night. I would study. My parents would like fact check me to make sure I didn't cheat on my tests. And I had to actually study to get straight A's, right? And I'm not a genius. I don't love books. I didn't hug my math book at night because I wanted to get straight A's. Like I had no choice. My parents made me. So all while I had to maintain a 4.0 GPA while doing this. I was top 15 in my class. Again, not because school was like my number one thing. It's just my parents made sure they bred me to go to a good college so that I could be get a good job, right, and become successful in my family. No one in my family ever graduated college at that point, right? So, Henry, go to the next one. Today, I live in San Diego, California. I am 29 years old. I'm a husband, and this is my wife, Desiree, who also went to this high school. And on the right-hand side is our son. His name is Gray, and he's 6 months old. And I'm an 8-figure entrepreneur and a Inc. 5000 business owner. I'll explain what that is in a sec. And a coach and a mentor, right? Let's go to the next one, Henry. So on the screen are a few awards that people can earn if you own a business and it's in digital marketing. I'll give you perspective on the awards, okay? So if you're an actor, what is it that you're chasing if you're an actor? It starts with an O. Oscar? Okay, you guys know what the Oscars are? Yeah? If you're an actor, you want to have an Oscar, right? If you're a musician, you're chasing a Grammy, right? If you're an artist and you get a Grammy, would you be happy? Probably, right? So what you're looking at is basically the Oscars and Grammys for digital marketing and entrepreneurship, right? So the award on the left, that's myself and then the founders of ClickFunnels, which is basically the ones who give the awards. It represents $1 million with a product. And then the award on the right is representing $10 million, which is why it has the X on it, right? So we have a handful of these awards. They definitely did not come overnight, but we were able to earn arguably some of the most prestigious awards on the internet, right? So with that, we also were able to make Inc. 5000. This is just a fancy way of saying, hey, we were the top 5,000 fastest growing businesses in the nation. And we were able to actually rank in the top 500s for what we do. So what do we do and how did we earn these awards? So today, what my business does is we teach people how to do sales. So I basically like have an online academy for sales, okay? It's as simple as that. So from there, at the end of when they learn sales, what do you do why would you go to college? To get a degree for what reason? Get a job, a career, right? So after you learn sales, what we do is we help people get jobs as a sales representative, right? So we have about 2,000 students every single year that we train. It wasn't always like that though. My beginning, I'd call it entrepreneur stages, I was a pizza cashier. I was making minimum wage, right? And this was in San Francisco. That's where I went to school for college. And on the right is the actual pizza place where I was a cashier. And I was broke throughout my late teens and my early 20s. And on top of being broke, I was confused. I didn't know what I wanted in life. Do we have seniors in the room? Yeah? It's okay if you don't have the next 20 years plan, the next 10 years plan. If you don't even know what you're going to major in college in, it's okay. You don't have to have everything planned out right now, right? So I was lost and confused. So for us, though, we were able to make a pretty big transition. So how did I go from a broke minimum wage cashier at 19 years old to 29 having a successful business? What did I do? I became more valuable to the marketplace. Go to the next one, Henry. I became more valuable to the marketplace, right? How come how come at Starbucks it costs you $5 for coffee, but at the gas station it's like 99 cents? It's more valuable, maybe the brand name, right? How come Louis Vuitton t-shirts are $1,000 and you could go to H&M or Walmart for a t-shirt for $5? It's more valuable, right? Why is a CFO, a chief financial officer, statistically makes $100,000 to $200,000 when at McDonald's it's minimum wage? Which one's more valuable? Well, of course, the person with the more valuable skill set, right? So that's how I became more valuable to the market. The marketplace is just the world, right? We all live in it, right? You buy things every day. You go to the store, you go to the mall, you know, when you're older, you're going to work, right? That's what I mean by the marketplace. So I skilled up. That's what I did. So in high school, I was not a genius. Yes, I studied and I worked hard, but there was a skill that I had that I took off with, right? So that skill for me was art. These are actual drawings that I did here at Selma High when I took the art classes, and it was something that I was passionate about as well, right? So I took the ability to draw and then I turned it into my first business. What do you think that business was? You're in a room where it's done arguably every day and it's behind you. What happens inside this room? Maybe they're hung up on the wall. T-shirts, right? Printing. I started a clothing brand, okay? So that was what I did, and I did it in high school. Henry, go to the next one. So my sophomore year, go to the next one. Henry, go to the next one. My sophomore year, I said, hey, I know how to draw. Let me learn how to do Illustrator and Photoshop, which is basically just how you make graphics online, right? And I got a business license. I started with my buddy, Raul Rubio, right? And we built a website, we ordered blanks, we partnered up with a printing company, and thus we had t-shirts. So from my sophomore to my senior year, we sold them. And I was, going through the halls slanging t-shirts, right? I sold about maybe 500 at 30 to 40 bucks a pop, just depended on the design. It's not $1 million, but I mean, hey, who wouldn't want like that type of extra cash, right? So I did that, and I had no guidance. It was just kind of like, all right, let me wing it. We didn't have an entrepreneur class when I went here. We didn't have a t-shirt making class. We didn't have anything. It was just something where, hey, let me just take this idea and just apply it in real life. Henry, go to the next one. This is my just a picture from my senior yearbook. They put me in there. These are some of the t-shirts and some of my buddies that wore them with me. And I took that skill of drawing, and I took that skill of knowing how to do graphics, and then we started to actually apply it in a real business. So again, I'm talking about how I skilled up to become more valuable so that I could make more money, right? So what you're looking at on the screen is one of the first professional, I guess you could say, graphic designs that I did. It is Aaron Ray. Probably don't know who that is, but do you know Meek Mill? Ty Dolla $ign, right? He has songs with those types of artists, so he's more like the R&B side, but he's pretty popular. But here I am, 21, 22, like making these types of graphics, which was pretty cool, right? So we ended up for our business getting bigger and bigger clients. It's on iTunes, but for this one, does anyone know any of the faces on the screen? Anyone look familiar? Yeah? Conor McGregor, probably say is the most popular one, right? So we acquired a client, meaning we sold them, we earned their business, for Paradigm Sports Management. That's just a management company that manages athletes, right? So Conor McGregor was one of the athletes that Paradigm Sports Management managed. And I was in my early 20s working on Connor's website, working on pitch decks for Connor and different NFL, NBA athletes doing these, pretty cool things. And it all began with the skill of, cool, hey, I know how to draw, right? So going through, I learned how to then do web design. So draw, t-shirts, graphic, web design, right? So our first year in business, we had no business plan. We had no blueprint. We didn't have loans. Which means we didn't have money, right? We didn't have advertising. We didn't have anything. But we did have belief, ambition. We had a team, culture, focus, and work ethic, right? So our first year in business, we were able to do $1 million, which is pretty hard for a lot of businesses to do. Out of all the businesses that exist, only the top 10% are able to do $1 million, okay? So from that, this is the team that was working on Conor McGregor's websites. We're like on the phone with Chief Keef's manager, and we're talking to like some big artists. And on the left is my brother and my business partner, Mike. And on the right is all three of those people on the couch actually went to Selma High. It's myself, my brother, and then Jordan Allen. And this was our first office, which also was my home because I couldn't afford to live anywhere. So I lived inside the office, which also was my kitchen where I ate food because offices don't have like a kitchen. And I showered at the gym, right? I was broke. I couldn't afford anything, but I believed. So go to the right. I was lucky enough to upgrade from that futon was shared with me and my brother, and we upgraded to an air mattress. So every night we would blow it up, sleep on it, and then in the mornings we'd deflate it, and then we would work all day, right? I unfortunately and gratefully, I know what it feels like to struggle financially. I know what it feels like to walk inside a grocery store and have $5 in your bank account and not know how to buy food, not know how to maybe even pay rent. I know what that feels like, right? Nothing was ever handed to me, and it was something where I knew I didn't want to live that lifestyle anymore, right? That's why I was working so hard, and that's why I committed so many hours, right? So I'll go to the next one, Henry. Going through my journey, I kept skilling up, right? And I acquired these different skill sets. And what do you think happened every time I gained a new skill? I got paid more money, right? So today we've done over 30 million online, which is a pretty hard feat to do, right? It took a lot of time though, and it definitely did not happen overnight. But I want to talk to you about what I would do if I were to start over. If I woke up and I was 18 years old again, what would I do? What would I tell myself right now if I was looking at 18-year-old John, right? The very first thing I would do is I would tell myself to decide the life that I want to live. Okay, that is extremely important that you decide the life you want to live. I believe every class did this, but, Henry, go to the next one. Did you all make vision boards? Yes? I made one too, but it wasn't through school, it wasn't through here. In 2015, this is 2 years after I graduated, here I am in my office with no money, no real success, I had nothing, and I'm 22 years old with Elmer's glue and magazines making a vision board. Honestly, I felt a little silly at the time, I won't lie, right? But what do you see on my vision board? Right? You see maybe nice cars, right? You see maybe travel. The little heart is me and my wife when we first started dating. You see successful quotes. And I made a decision that, hey, I feel like as a human being, no matter where I grew up, even if I grew up in a small town, if I grew up poor, if I grew up in an environment where it was unlikely for people to succeed, I felt like I deserved to have the finer things in life. Right? So fast forward to now, Henry, on the left-hand side, you're about to see, go ahead. No. You're about to see this is my vision board, and then on the right-hand side is my real life that has actually happened, right? So 2015, I make it, and then 3 years later, I get my first car. It's nothing crazy. It's a Mercedes, right? But I saved up. I put all my own money towards it. It's pretty nice. Same 3 years later, I went from living in the office broke to living in Hollywood Hills. Is anyone? It's like Beverly Hills, right? It's in LA. So moved to a nice home. We actually did get a BMW i8. I traveled to Thailand for 2 weeks in 2019. In 2021, I got engaged. My wife and I, we went to Selma High School, and I traveled a lot and I moved a lot because I was just trying to like find myself and figure out like what I wanted for my life. And I did a 7-year long distance relationship with my girlfriend, and who is now my wife. And I knew though, hey, I wanted to marry her, so like that's why I put that on my vision board. So we ended up getting engaged, and we got married. In 2021, I guess you could call it a sports car. I bought my first one, a Corvette C8, and then in 2022, I bought my first Lamborghini. And this year, I bought my second Lamborghini. Again, I'm not saying that to like, I drive a cool car and I'm better. It's just, I went to this high school and I was able to accomplish these things because I worked really hard. And yes, I mean, it took me a while, a lot longer than I wanted it to, but it finally happened, right? So those vision boards you made, I would treat them as serious as you can, because life, it can actually happen. Whatever you put on there, the craziest things, if you put a picture of a grant, like it can happen, okay? So it's important that you decide what success means to you. Not mommy, not daddy, not your teachers, not your coaches, not your friends. You have to decide what success means to you. And it might not be money. It might be become a principal and be the best principal ever. It might be become the best nurse, become the best athlete, the best graphic. It could be anything, right? But it has to come from you, because the reality and truth is life is going to be tough after high school. It is, right? But that doesn't mean it won't be worthwhile, right? And I will tell you, it's been 11 years since I graduated. It's pretty crazy, 11. That 11 years has gone by faster than my 4 years in high school. It's pretty crazy to think, like, dang, a decade since I graduated, right? But it's important that you know, hey, there's going to be some tough parts, but it's all going to be worth it if you continue to pursue, right? And if you let someone tell you what success is, and you are forced down a path you don't want to go down, when life gets hard, you'll more than likely quit. But if you choose a path and life gets hard, you'll be willing to get back up again. That's what allowed me to achieve what I want to achieve, right? Number 2, explore options and understand that failure is normal, right? So what does that mean? Henry, go to the next one. It's okay to try things, okay? I tried a bunch of different things. In every 6 months from 2015 to like 2020, I moved. I was here, obviously. Then I went to San Francisco. Then I lived in LA. Then I lived in Vegas. And then I moved to San Diego. And then that's where I am now, right? So it's okay after high school to explore and try different things. I went to college majoring in apparel design. I do nothing with apparel design now, right? You don't have to know exactly what it is, but I will say the more you explore, the more you will be able to know what you like and what you don't like. How do you know you don't like sushi? Well, you have to try it, right? How do you know you don't like listening to this type of music? You have to try listening to the music, right? So the more you explore, the more you'll understand and you'll know, oh, this was cool, great experience, learned, but I'm gonna go in a different direction, right? So you don't have to have all the answers now, right? Choose a vehicle that makes you happy. And what I mean by vehicle, I just mean a profession, a career, okay? If your parents are saying, hey, go be a nurse, and deep down you don't want to be a nurse, you're probably not going to be happy in life, right? Your parents are pushing, be a doctor. I'm not saying go against your family. I'm just saying, like, if it's in alignment, then go for it, right? I did wrestling. I'll be honest. I did it because my brother was really, really good and I looked up to him. And I admired the success that he had. And that's why I did it. But I didn't like wrestling, I'll be honest. I wanted to quit my senior year. My dad wouldn't let me, though, because he basically said I would be going through a life of hell if I did quit, even worse. So I stuck through it. But why am I not a wrestling coach right now? Why am I not like an All-American? Why am I not on a, because I don't have a passion for wrestling, right? I have a passion for what I do now. So these are just a few vehicles I've tried. I mean, business owner, it's pretty straightforward. Real estate, AI, software, sales. I mean, there's so many other things that I did try, right? So going through my life, I started something, I learned it, I tried it, and then I failed. So I started a clothing brand. I learned how to do it. And I sold shirts, and then I failed. I don't have t-shirts and zoomies right now. I don't have a clothing line in PacSun, right? I started to learn web design, and we sold websites, and we were like, websites are gonna get us rich, like, let's do this. And we failed. We no longer build websites, right? I tried affiliate marketing, which is just you sell someone else's product. That's affiliate marketing, right? I learned how to do it. I failed. And every time when I was younger, I felt like I was just starting over. Could you guys understand that? Like, I learned something, tried it, failed, and I had to reset the clock back all over again, right? But I started to gain perspective every time I gave something new a try. So, Henry, go to the next one. Obviously, I'm speaking of a circle, and for, think of a parking lot structure, right? If you were to drive up this parking lot structure, are you going in a circle? Hopefully, yes. Yeah, it's a circle. Okay, so are you going higher or lower? You're going higher, right? I mean, obviously, if you're driving up. So I started to gain perspective of like, oh, wait, I'm not necessarily restarting. I'm just now more aware of myself, my skills, what I like, what I don't like, and I was able to start businesses faster and learn quicker. If I had to start over tomorrow, I could rebuild my business in 90 days and do the exact same amount of revenue I do now because I have more experience. I have more lessons that I've learned, right? And I know myself more. Go to the next one, Henry. So number 3, it's important that you get clear and set goals. The difference between this and a vision board is it starts to get a little bit more specific to you. Just because I take a little cute photo of a Lamborghini, I put it on there, like, what color do you want? What kind of Lamborghini? What home do you live in? How many bedrooms is it? How many kids? I mean, maybe you're not thinking about kids right now, hopefully not, but like, you get what I mean. Like, you have to be specific when you start to really think about your goals. And there's something that I do and that I would say all successful people do that I know, and that is writing them down. Not typing it in your phone, not thinking about it in your head, but taking a physical pen and a physical paper and writing it down, right? And I'm not the crazy guy that does this by himself. Henry, go to the next one. Arguably, we could say the greatest people of all time are on the screen. The far right, you wouldn't know who he is, I'll explain. But Conor McGregor, one of the highest paid fighters ever in history. Beyonce, Michael Jordan. I studied them. And every single one of them, what do you think they did? They wrote down their goals, right? And the person on the far right is my older brother, Nick, who I mentioned is really good at wrestling, right? So my brother Nick did something very interesting his junior year. So I went inside his room, and he had a wrestling poster on the wall, and I saw him untack it, flip it over, tack it back on the wall, and it was just a white canvas. It was just white. Then I saw him, like, I'm watching him do this, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you look a little crazy. And he gets a black Sharpie, and he writes on the poster, I am a state champion. What do you think happened his junior year? Henry, go to the next one. Go to the next one. Well, he became a 2-time state champion. His junior year he won, and his senior year he won state. And he was a 4-time state placer. And these are accolades that very, very few people have ever done in history. He was ranked number 2 in the nation. He was valedictorian in his high school. Do you guys know what the valedictorian is? It means you're number 1 in athletics, in academics, like you were the top person in your entire school. So he earned that, and then he went to wrestle at Cornell University. Is anyone familiar with Cornell? It's like Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Brown. It's an Ivy League school, one of the most prestigious schools that you can move into or you could go and get educated at, right? So he wrote it down. I mean, was it luck? Did he win the lottery? What I know is he made a decision, thought about it, he wrote it down, and then it happened in real life. And of course he worked for it, right? So anything that is monumental or special to you or important to you, I believe, will happen 3 times. It will happen in your mind, which means you think about it, you make a decision, and you believe it. It will happen on paper when you write it down, and then it will happen in real life. And it's important to not apply timelines because you almost corner yourself, and it sucks when you don't hit that milestone at that time. Example, I'm 21. I didn't write down I drive a Lamborghini at 22. I just wrote I drive a Lamborghini, right? So it's important that you write it as if you already have it though, okay? And again, maybe this sounds all silly and maybe it's like cool, but I mean, the most successful people in the world, they do this crazy thing. And for me, it worked. It just took some time, right? But everyone's journey is going to be a little bit different. So 3 times. Number 4 is get access to the right information. So it sounds simple, it sounds easy, but yet it's still difficult at the same time because when you're going through life, you're going to have trouble figuring out what is the right information. And that's what comes into exploring because you won't know until you try something, right? So get access to the right information, and that has to do with what are you listening to, what are you watching, who are your friends? Has anyone ever heard you are who you hang around with? Yeah? If all 9 of your friends play Call of Duty, you're probably on COD playing Search and Destroy, right? If all 9 of your friends play basketball, you're probably playing basketball. All 9 of your friends like Taylor Swift, you're probably slamming Taylor Swift in the headphones. Is it still cool to listen to Drake? No? Yeah? Okay. Well, that's who I listened to when I was in high school. So be mindful of that. Okay? I'm not saying you need to go crazy, never listen to music. You can listen to music, right? But be mindful of like your surroundings because over time it has an effect on you. Even habits, slang. If I pull 5 people in a group, I'm sure they speak in some way, shape, or form the same, right? So how do you get the right information? You find a mentor. That mentor doesn't have to be in physical space to you. It doesn't have to be physically accessible, right? You don't have to be speaking to a Michael Jordan. You can also do it through YouTube, through movies, through documentaries, through books, right? But find someone that you look up to that has the lifestyle you want. And I would just go crazy on them, right? Study them. So find a mentor. And the big thing, if someone were to ask me, hey, Cole, you have all this success, what is the key to success? My answer would be number 4. It would be get access to the right information. And then the second half of that is operate off of that information. So if I gave you a piece of paper that said every single direct step on how to become a millionaire, and every night you cuddle with it, you give it a little kiss, and you stare at it in the morning, but you never do what's on the paper, will you be successful? No, because you have to apply it, right? So that is the big 50% of that other half of getting the information. It's applying the information, right? So, Henry, trust the process and enjoy the journey. Goes back to you choosing. Just because you say, hey, I want to be a business owner, and you fail, it doesn't mean it's game over. It's just, hey, a learning lesson, and you move forward, right? I struggled from 18 to 24. Even though we were getting those big clients, we were still broke. Like, we weren't getting paid a lot of money, right? Because we wanted to just like put the names in our portfolio so that we could sell more people, right? So it took me a really, really long time. But your journey is going to be different than who your mentor is, than who's next to you, who's in front of you, who's behind you. It took me about a decade to buy my dream car, right? There is a 21-year-old that we helped. Well, when he met us, he was 19. And in high school, he went in rehab for drugs. He was in and out of jail. He was like known as a bad kid. And when he found us, he was bagging groceries at a grocery store. In 2 years, he bought a Lamborghini all by himself at 21. Why did it take me 10 years? It took him 2. Well, because he did the shortcut. What's the shortcut? He got the right information, and he used that information so that he could become successful, right? And enjoy the journey. Some of my most memorable moments, the funniest, the craziest, the wildest, the most special, were honestly some when I was broke, when I was living inside that office, because I was with the right people and we were all on the same purpose, right? And I want to end with, I am not this anomaly, meaning the outlier, the only one, right? There are other people that have graduated this exact same school that have successful businesses and careers, right, Henry? So this is just a handful of people that have came to this high school. Maybe you're familiar, maybe you're not, it's okay. But on the top is my brother. In the middle is Prabjit Ganger. Some of these names you might know, but Suquinder Nar, Sunny Nar, Daisy Cabral, Matt Ramirez, Kevin Panu. These are maybe names that might be unfamiliar, but what is similar is every single person on the screen, sitting down in here, except for my man Henry in the back, we all went to Selma High School. We all walked down that field and we got a diploma, and you will too, right, when that day comes. So it doesn't matter your background. My parents are not millionaires. My dad worked at Burger King, okay? Like, it didn't have this Donald Trump, here's $1 million from my father, right? I came from nothing. Okay, I walked the same streets, like went to the dairy, I went to Circle K, like I did everything. I would go to the baseball games, the football games, the stadiums, like I lived in this same environment. But I left not because you can't be successful here, of course you can, but I just wanted to explore. I wanted to see what else was out there. And every single person here, it would be my goal for, you could do better than me. You could blow me out the water, right? That would be a good thing, right? Every person here can have success. But again, it has to come from a point of you and like your purpose and you choose it. It doesn't have to just be money, right? But I just want everyone to know, look, we all have the same we all have similar backgrounds maybe, but it's possible for anybody that's sitting down right now in this room.